I did struggle for a while to figure out how I wanted to frame this, because we've learned so much, and a lot of it has been theory, and then a lot of it has been listening to speakers, but until we're in it or something similar, it was hard for me to attack something concrete. So I decided to take it from a leadership frame. And what I mean by that is to go back and review the leadership questionnaires that we've done, and then look at what appears to be my areas of strength and maybe some of my areas of need improvement, and then how I could theoretically apply that. So just real quick, y'all are all familiar with these questionnaires. So the first one, I had my highest one, which did not surprise me at all, was process, because I was a math teacher for 14 years, I was a coach for 14 years, so very much about structure, policy, processes, procedures. And then my next one was relationship. And and skills. And then the next one was relationship. And Monica and Kobe already know this, but when I was younger, that was not one of my strengths. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I was very much about content, teaching my kids, controlling the classroom, controlling the gym, that this became secondary. And it took me a few years into my career to evolve to finally understand that that wasn't the way to go for me if I was going to stay in education. So I learned how to shift some of those strengths and work on the human side of education. Not that I was a monster or anything, but I wasn't very nice. I was your typical my way, highway type of teacher, type of coach, until another long story, until I finally came to an epiphany that that just wasn't the way to go for me. So on the other two, on the next one we did, I had almost exact same scores, which was kind of assuring to me, because and really was a little surprising that now my people strengths are starting to overtake some of my task strengths, which in the past wouldn't necessarily been true, and more so, this would have heavily outweighed more of the people skills. Not that I didn't love my kids or love my students, but I was typically about, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and this is how it's going to get done, and if you don't like it, oh well. So with that led, when we graphed it, so I was up here in the, what I call quadrant one, because I was a math teacher. This is quadrant one, and you go counterclockwise. So it was a good mix of your people and task skills, which according to the questionnaire was in the team leader. So again, reassuring to me that my style has shifted to the point where I'm understanding, and have understood now for several years now, that to get people and to move people and to move your school, you've got to have that humanistic quality about you, while still bringing in the processes and the policies and procedures. So on the other ones, with the conflict one, my highest one was collaborating, and then my second highest was compromising, with my lowest one being, what does that say? I can't remember which one that was. Avoiding. Which again, several years ago, it was probably would have tipped the other way, because I didn't want to share my ideas with anybody. I didn't want to collaborate. I just wanted to make a decision, because this is going to be the way I'm going to do it. And so on the last one, gosh, I'm sorry, I can't see this from that close. My highest one was laissez-faire and, no, sorry. Democratic. Again, reinforcing my evolution, because I do every now and then tend to revert back to some of my authoritative ways, but typically that's more whether it's in crisis mode or it's because it's in one of those, those situations where you have to make a quick decision. So I was trying to figure out a way to, where'd it go? Minimize that one.
Start at the bottom.
I need to get to, there was another slide I had that was in a different place. Now I don't know how to get there. So I couldn't figure out how to, because I am linear and I'm math, but I couldn't figure out a way to line up all the different responsibilities. So it just kind of made more sense for me to, let me just do a mind map and let me just put stuff on paper, because, and in doing this, it made me realize that along with, or even more so than what I do, there is a whole another level of skill sets needed to be a superintendent or something of that caliber. And so this is so basic. I mean, this is in no way encompassing or comprehensive of everything that superintendents do, but it started to make me think about, okay, here are all, just in a very simple frame, here are all the different skill sets I would need to have to be in that capacity. And so here's the wraparound back to the leadership. So oh, sorry, that got cut off. So that, so in order for me to work with budget or work with relationships or whatever the main topic is, I have to understand my leadership style, and I have to understand how it's going to have to switch. Not that I'm going to be false or fake in my personality, but obviously you're going to apply different hats and different frames of leadership depending on the context and the situation. So in looking and thinking about all these, and I'm thinking, so like relationships and building your partnerships. Again, this is very, very basic. You have to have the leadership style of, more often than not, a democratic or a collaborative framework in order, because you're responsible now for all schools, all teachers, all staff down to your custodians, plus the school board, and sometimes those are in harmony and sometimes they're not. So, so in thinking about what I learned most, I guess, about this was, yes, I have leadership a skill set, but now I need to work on, okay, how do I continue to advance those? How do I continue to work on those? How do I continue to study on those? So that in this big world of superintendency, I can figure out a way to best apply them so it's applicable and democratic for everyone. And it didn't show up because I had to convert it to a PDF, but across this whole thing, I put a watermark that says culture. So main thing is, by doing all this and applying the correct leadership styles with the right context, with the right subtopic, it's all about culture. So that was my learning for this course.